Hello, welcome back if you've not been here before to Hazel Jane Tarot. Today I'm jumping in with a response to some of the prompts from Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot 2021, and I'm not going to do all the prompts this year, but I thought I would jump in and talk about some of the prompts to do with my plans for 2021. So the first is day 9 was your tarot goals for 2021. So I thought this was really interesting one to think about, and a few things that I would like to do this year. One of them is to do a little bit more work on my tarot journal. Some of you will have seen this before. This is a journal that I've been working on to basically record my own study and understanding of the tarot card meanings. So that's one of the spreads there that I've done that's finished. There, that's the Chariot, and I've basically dipped in and out of this book. I've done some of the number cards, I have done some of the majors, I've done some of the courts, but I haven't I didn't do that many pages this in 2020, and I would like to do a few more pages in my tarot journal for 2021. Another thing I would like to work on a little bit more in 2021 is my journal with this, or my journey with the Spirit Keepers Tarot. So I got a hold of the first edition in 2020, and I had the Vitruvian edition from the year before, and I've had the workbook printed out since I got the Vitruvian edition, but I hadn't started working with it until I got the first edition. So like it has, I mean, it appeals to the Virgo in me, the sort of the ticking things off the list and the study from the medium white book and the book of maps and so on, and making notes on that, and analysing the symbolism in the cards and so on. And I've made a start on that, but there's still a lot more to do in terms of studying and breaking down the symbolism in the Spirit Keepers Tarot and working with it. I did use the Spirit Keepers Tarot for my year ahead spread for 2021. And I mean, I do read with it. I'm not waiting until I've finished all the study to start reading with it, because it's Rider-Waite-Smith enough that you can read it out of the box, but there is a lot more depth to go into with it, and so I do want to do a bit more with that this year as well. Another deck that I want to, as they say, do a bit of a deep dive into is my beautiful Korea Tarot. At the minute I'm keeping in this little bag that I got a crystal in from James Feeney, but I'd like to get a more appropriate bag for it. I think I actually have a little Korean pouch somewhere that I could use if I could only track it down. But I've started using Google Translate to read the guidebook that came with this deck, and using just regular Google to go in a bit deeper with the meanings and symbols behind some of the cards. And I decided, rather than creating yet another journal on this, I would do it digitally. So just to show you, I've been working on my computer, putting together the things that I've studied about this deck. And sorry, my screen's frozen. So so you can see I've been creating a bit of a sort of a little bit of a kind of guidebook to it that I've been doing on my computer, and I'd like to continue with that, and so that I've got something that's in English, that's got the analysis of the cards, and then I would maybe take photographs and paste them in before I print it off. So that's another thing I'd like to work on, is getting a bit more in-depth study of the beautiful Korea Tarot. And I've learned in some of my reading that it's actually based off Tarot of the Old Path. So I'll see how far I get with the guidebook with the Google Translate, but it might be worth looking up the Tarot of the Old Path as well and seeing if that helps to illuminate some of the imagery in this deck. So that's another thing I want to work on. In terms of my tarot goals, I would also quite like to learn how to edit video. At the moment I sort of shoot my videos and there's not much I can do. If I make a mistake I just have to reshoot it for my tarot channel. So I would quite like to learn a bit more about how to edit video, and I would also like to do a bit more promotion of my tarot readings. I do actually have an online shop where I sell tarot readings and I never talk about it. I never promote it. It's just there, and I think I would quite like to attract some more clients to do readings and to maybe be a bit more confident with promoting that going forward into 2021. So that's another kind of tarot related goal. Moving on then to the prompts for day 11, which was tarot decks I want to work with in 2021. And here are a few of them. So I would really like to spend a bit more time getting to know the Tarot de Sainte Croix that I got, or Tarot de Sainte Croix that I got as a prize from James Feeney's channel. And this is a deck that I have been doing sort of one card pulls from, kind of like a tarot at bedtime where I pull one card and read what the book says about it. But I would like to really sit down with this deck a bit more systematically and read the guidebook fully, and maybe do some journaling about the card meanings. I think I'll probably have to dedicate a month of using it for daily draws and other readings and things to really get to know it a bit better. But I might save that for getting towards the summer, because just with the colours and the orange borders and so on, there's a real sort of heat to this deck that maybe I think might fit being used in the summer. But we'll see how we go. But that I would like to use a bit more. Another deck I would like to use more that I've only really used once or twice since I got it is this Tarot of the Cloisters, which is an out of print deck that was one that I was lucky enough to take off my wish list in 2020. So as you can see, it's a round deck. It's Rider-Waite-Smith based, and I really wanted to experiment with reading directionally and letting the rotation of the cards influence how I interpreted the meaning as sort of waxing energy, waning energy, sort of developing on from the idea of pure reversals. So that's another one that I would like to work with a bit more in 2021. Another deck I want to work with more in 2021 that I haven't really worked with at all yet is the Margaret Peterson Tarot. This is a lot more abstract a deck than what I would usually go for. This is a deck I got for Christmas, and the imagery I was very attracted to from seeing it in the Taschen tarot book, and the images are very a lot more abstract than what I would normally go for, but very thought-provoking, and I think would work very well for personal work, for for personal reflection and so on. They're almost like a like a scrying mirror when you look into these images. So I have done very little beyond flip through this so far, and I think there's a real I thought there was something wrong. The Fool was stuck in the box. I think there's a real potential to go very deep with this deck. And one thing I really love is that the guidebook, or the booklet, has got poetry for, instead of card readings, there's poetry that's been written in response to these images. And I think that is quite inspiring as an idea of how to work with card meanings. So that's another one I would like to explore in a bit more depth this year. And the Shimmering Veil, which I bought this year as well, or in 2020, sort of in a similar way, I would like to get a bit more use out of. Another deck that I haven't read with yet, that I want to really have a go at getting into this year is the Crystal Tarot. This is my only sort of pip deck, and as you can see, like the images, the illustrated images are really gorgeous, and then we have these quite basic pips, although the background colors are very nice. It's not a Marseille, it's just its own pip thing. So I haven't really worked with pips, and I'm interested potentially in getting Tom Benjamin's book Tarot on Earth, which I understand is for Marseille particularly, but I was wondering if it might be useful to just learn how to read pips more generally. I did do Tarot Jam, Tom Benjamin's live online course in 2020, which was absolutely fantastic. So, you know, I have a lot of time for him and his teaching, and I am quite keen to read his book. So I think that would be a good tool to get to work with the Crystal Tarot alongside. So those are some of the decks that I really want to work with in 2021, as well as, you know, just getting a bit more use out of some of the other beautiful things that I've brought into my collection, and maybe haven't got as much use out of as they deserve. The prompt for day 12 is the Oracle decks that you'd like to use more in 2021. And for this, I've basically just grabbed the Oracle decks that I've got really recently and haven't had much of a chance to use yet. The Threadbound Oracle by Cedar MacLeod, I was so crazy keen to get and was given as a Christmas present, and I literally have hardly looked at it yet. And it's an incredibly cool concept, beautifully done. Cedar's such a fantastic deck creator, and I haven't so much as touched the beginnings of the potential of this deck yet, so I really want to work with it. As you can see, it's still in order because I haven't shuffled it yet, and of course I want to get Cedar's book that goes along with this, to get a hold of the ebook and read it sort of as a partner to working with this deck. So that is very high on my list of oracles that I want to work with. Another oracle that I'm going to be working with a lot is the Mother's Wisdom deck. I recently did a flip through of this, so I'm not going to take it out of the box, but this is a deck that I'm planning to pull sort of weekly and monthly cards for reflecting on my mothering journey. So this is definitely one that I'm going to be using. I also want to get into using the Sacred Ireland Celtic Moon deck that I recently was gifted, and spend a little bit more time studying the different types of cards in this deck, and figuring out what sorts of readings that this might be good for. And so probably maybe readings around the moon, different phases of the moon, the full moon, the new moon might be good for that one. And another deck that I would really like to get some use out of in the coming year is this Ancestral Oracle of the Celts, which I bought sort of towards the end of 2020, but haven't really got much use out of yet. It does have these two different sets of cards. Like, there are these cards which sort of give an overall theme, and then you have these ancestor cards which are divided up by family, and I haven't really read the book enough to fully understand how this system works and to get proper use out of it. So this is another one I want to get a lot more use out of as we come into 2021. And the final one I've pulled off the shelf as a deck to work with in 2021, it kind of is more emblematic of sort of a set of types of decks. I think I have 3 decks which have goddesses, and this is the most recent one that I have acquired. The art in this is absolutely gorgeous, although who the goddess is isn't super obvious to me from the images. So the writing on the back, rather than there's no booklet, there's just sort of writing on the back about it. and my intention is to pull a card maybe once a month and to do some reading around the particular goddess. At the minute, this for January, I've been looking at Arianrhod as the goddess. I don't know if you can hear in the background on the monitor, but my little one has been coughing a little bit as she's been waking up from her nap, and she started to chat now. So I'm going to have to say goodbye. The last prompt that I wanted to address really quickly before I go is the day 8 prompt, which was your wish list for 2021, or what's the top 5 decks on your wish list at the moment. And at the moment, I'm super keen to get Jamie Sawyer's Pocket of Peers deck when it comes up, so I'm going to be looking out for that Kickstarter. I'm also really keen to get the Animal Woman, the Story Medicine deck by Jessica Zinchuk, so I'm keeping an eye on Little Red Tarot for when that becomes available in the UK. One I'm really waiting hard on is the Tarot of the Mystical Moments, which at the moment is saying that it won't be available until April. And Oracle-wise, I'm looking forward to getting the Sacred Creators Oracle by Chris Ann, which is now available in mass market from the end of January. And I'd really love the Morning Calm Oracle by Saul Kelleher. So I'm maybe holding out to see if potentially it might be stocked in the UK, but if not, I might order that one from America. So those are the sort of top decks on my wish list at the moment. And some of the Oracle decks and Tarot decks I want to work with in 2021. I have to keep reminding myself it's 2021, not 2020. And some of my tarot goals for the year ahead. So I'd love to know what your goals are for the year ahead. If you've done any of these prompts for 31 Days of Tarot, please let me know in the comments below. I've found it quite easy to miss the 31 Days of Tarot hashtag this year. So if you have done a video, please let me know in the comments and I'll go check yours out. And yes, I thank you for watching, and I'll go get the little girl who's woken up now. All right, so bye-bye. Thanks for watching.